This is the story of Eala, a rising star who quietly shook the foundations of women's tennis. While cameras chased established champions, Alexa moved through early rounds with nothing but a racket, focus, and an unshakable calm, unnoticed by the world but feared by those who began to sense her potential. She didn't make headlines with viral celebrations or bold statements. Her strength lay in precision, discipline, and poise, qualities that made opponents misjudge her at first. Her first major win was understated, a teenage outsider defeating a seasoned veteran, and yet it sent shockwaves through the sport. Match after match, she proved she wasn't intimidated by names or reputations. When broken, she broke back. When pressured, she remained calm, her silence speaking louder than any celebration. Slowly, the legends of the game began to feel the pressure, their once untouchable dominance slipping as Alexa's composed game disrupted the established hierarchy. Every rally, every long deciding set, every calm walk to the baseline became a statement that talent, focus, and mental strength could challenge legacy. Commentators, fans, and social media debated her demeanor, some calling it arrogance, others maturity beyond her years, while the legends themselves struggled to adjust, their composure tested like never before. Tensions grew, subtle glances and clenched jaws replaced the ease of past matches, and public scrutiny amplified every gesture and comment. Alexa's rise became more than a story of victories, it became a cultural clash, a generational showdown where old fire met new ice. The young star remained calm, disciplined, and focused, letting her game speak while the chaos unfolded around her. Interviews and social media buzz dissected every interaction, from a brief handshake to a poised press conference, framing a narrative that was no longer just about tennis, but about temperament, respect, and the evolution of the sport itself. The legend's outbursts, once unthinkable, became evidence of a changing order, while Alexa's composed victories highlighted that dominance was no longer guaranteed. In the weeks that followed, the sport adjusted, the dust settled, and the world realized that a new era had quietly begun. Fans debated, analysts analyzed, and players adapted, all aware that Eala had redefined expectations simply by refusing to conform to invisible rules of intimidation and hierarchy. The legends returned to form, tempered with humility and awareness, while Alexa continued to rise, each match a reminder that talent alone wasn't enough. Perception, patience, and poise mattered just as much. Her story revealed the vulnerabilities long ignored, the clash of personalities, and the evolving drama that makes tennis not just a game, but a theater of emotion, strategy, and human spirit. And for viewers, the question remained, was this simply the rise of a new star, or the beginning of a complete transformation in women's tennis? One thing was certain, the stakes, the passion, and the drama would never be the same again, and the next chapters in Eala's journey promised to redefine the sport, where legends are challenged, futures are written, and history is unfolding point by point. As tournaments continued, Alexa's calm mastery contrasted sharply with the flaring tempers and carefully curated personas of established stars, and every match became more than a competition. It was a test of adaptability, mental resilience, and the ability to thrive under scrutiny. Media outlets dissected every move, social media exploded with clips, and fans debated not only her skill, but her approach, with some calling her the most disciplined player of her generation, and others questioning whether her poise masked calculated ambition. Meanwhile, the legends of the sport faced an internal reckoning. Victories no longer guaranteed authority, losses no longer excused emotional outbursts, and every press interaction carried the weight of scrutiny Alexa never had to endure. Slowly, the sport began to recognize a truth that had always been quietly present. Tennis isn't just about power or technique, it's about mental fortitude, perception, and the courage to challenge norms. Alexa's rise inspired the next wave of players, those watching from junior circuits and practice courts, proving that composure could be as disruptive as ferocity, and that humility and respect could coexist with relentless ambition. Even as critics questioned her demeanor, her focus never wavered. Each victory was measured, each loss absorbed, and each moment on court reinforced a philosophy that would influence a generation. Success is defined not only by trophies, but by respect earned through poise and character. And for the legends, the experience became a mirror reflecting their own evolution, showing that even icons must adapt, embrace patience, and recognize the inevitability of change. As seasons passed, Alexa's name became synonymous not just with talent, but with the shifting narrative of women's tennis itself, where generational clashes produced new legends, old dominance was respectfully challenged, and the sport grew richer in drama, emotion, and inspiration. By now, it was clear, Alexa Eala hadn't just arrived, she had rewritten the rules of perception, forced champions to confront their own humanity, and invited the entire tennis world to witness a transformation that would echo for decades. And as the crowd cheered, cameras flashed, and commentators debated the implications of every match, one fact remained indisputable. History was unfolding with every serve, every rally, and every quiet, decisive step Alexa took on the court, reminding the world that greatness isn't just measured in trophies, but in the courage to change the game itself, one point at a time. The ripple effect of Alexa Eala's rise extended far beyond individual matches or tournaments. Young players around the world began to emulate her focus, her calm under pressure, her refusal to be intimidated by fame or legacy. Tennis academies buzzed with discussions of strategy, not just for power or speed, but for mental resilience, for reading opponents, and for turning pressure into opportunity. Meanwhile, the legends adapted in their own way, some rediscovering humility, others sharpening their craft, all aware that the game they once controlled with ease now demanded more adaptability, patience, and awareness of the rising tide. Press conferences became arenas of subtle power plays, social media timelines became battlegrounds for interpretation, and every handshake, glance, or pause on court was analyzed for meaning. Alexa's quiet confidence had rewritten expectations. Dominance was no longer automatic, respect could no longer be assumed, and composure became a weapon as potent as a forehand or serve. Yet she never let the noise distract her. Every training session, every rally, every tournament was approached with the same discipline that had defined her earliest victories. And as the seasons turned, what had begun as whispers about a promising teenager became full-blown recognition of a player who was shaping the future of the sport. Documentaries, analysis shows, and fan debates examined her journey, but the true story unfolded on the courts themselves, in points won with patience, in matches decided by nerves, and in the unspoken challenge she posed to every competitor she faced. For fans, there was excitement, for legends, a reminder, and for the sport, a rebirth. Alexa Eala's rise wasn't just a moment, it was a movement, a recalibration of how talent, temperament, and poise intersect to define greatness. And as the next Grand Slam approached, the question on everyone's mind was no longer if she could win, but how her presence would continue to transform the sport, challenge its icons, and inspire the next generation of champions. In a game that once seemed predictable, every serve now carried suspense, every rally demanded attention, and every calm, composed victory added another chapter to a story that was rewriting the history of women's tennis, reminding the world that legends may dominate, but pioneers like Alexa Eala define the future. As Alexa Eala's journey unfolded, the tennis world watched with a mix of awe, excitement, and unease. Each tournament brought new challenges, but she faced them with the same unshakable calm that had defined her earliest victories. Opponents who once dismissed her as inexperienced now approached her with caution, knowing that every point carried both skill and mental warfare. Crowds that had cheered for legends now found themselves captivated by her quiet authority, by the way she seemed to bend the momentum of a match without raising her voice or losing composure. Behind the scenes, coaches, analysts, and even former champions studied her movement, her shot selection, and her mental strategies, calling her one of the most complete and composed players of her generation. Social media exploded with clips of her decisive points, her calm reactions, and her composed walks to the chair. Each moment sparked discussions about poise, strategy, and character. Alexa's influence reached beyond tennis courts. She became a symbol for emerging athletes worldwide, showing that discipline, poise, and confidence could disrupt even the most established hierarchies. And as she collected victories,